Hi, my name is Frederick Torres, and in this video, I wanted to continue to show my experimentation with embedding, vector database, and similarity search. But this time, I wanted to not use a vector database. I wanted to store all the vectors in memory, and my application would execute the similarity search itself. In this case, I'm going to run almost everything in JavaScript inside the browser. I also done it in C# too. So I started with this file that I called Beatles all.json. In this JSON file, I have 187 Beatles songs, and they're categorized by album and the year. For each song, I have the ID, the text, and the vector. The file is about 6 megabytes, and that is, quote, my in-memory vector database. Then I built this React web application. I'm going to enter a phrase and then execute a similarity search. First, I want to show you something about how the application is going to work. Let's say, for example, I'm going to search for the phrase "in the Navy." We are getting "Yellow Submarine" twice. The song is part of the album Revolver and the album Yellow Submarine. I wanted to remind you that I have to take that sentence "in the Navy" and convert it first into a vector. For this, I need to call the OpenAI Embedding API. So I created my own backend. Here I have my own C# web API, which we'll call the OpenAI API, and returns the vector. This is the vector for the sentence "in the Navy." Now that I have my vector, I'm going to run the basic similarity search algorithm in JavaScript to compare the vector with the 187 songs or 187 vectors and get the results. And I will display the top 3 results, and I want for today that the score to be at least 0.76. So that's how the application works. Let's play a little bit. If I type "sad people in church," I get Eleanor Rigby as first result. Makes sense. If I search for "endless love," here, there, and everywhere, in first position. And "I love her," love you too. Let's try something a little bit more tricky. If I search for the word "parenting," what song talks about parenting or relation between children and parents? "She's Living Home." This is what I was hoping for. This stuff really works. If I type IRS, I get nothing. I was expecting the song "Taxman." But the song "Taxman" has a score of 0.759 and therefore is not displayed. If I type "lady," I get "Her Majesty," "girl." "She came through the bathroom window." I guess that kind of makes sense. If I type "Tibetan Book of the Dead," I'm getting "Tomorrow Never Knows" in first position. Expected. If I type Timothy Leary, I'm getting again "Tomorrow Never Knows," which is expected too. If you want to know more about the song "Tomorrow Never Knows," see my previous video about embedding, vector database, and similarity search. I explained the different relationship with the song. Let's try to search for animals. I'm getting "Piggies," "Rocky Raccoon," and "Hey Bulldog." Makes total sense. If I search for "anniversary," I'm getting "birthday." If I search for Chuck Berry, I'm getting "rock and roll music" and "roll over Beethoven." 2 songs from Chuck Berry covered by the Beatles, "Just for the Fun," "Letter Sent by Mail," "Please Mr. Postman." Good. If I search for the word "Soviet," I'm getting "back in the USSR" for the name Michael Gorbachev. I also get again "back in the USSR." If I search for Ronald Reagan, I am getting nothing. We could say Ronald Reagan has 0 relationship with the Beatles. At least no result matching the score of 0.76. If I search for Donald Trump, again, I get no result. Luke Skywalker, no result. If I search for Johannes Brahms, I'm getting some results now. Johannes Brahms was a musician. The Beatles are musicians. There is a connection. But if I search for Johannes Brahms died in 1897 in Vienna, then I'm getting no result. There is no correlation between Johannes Brahms, the year and location of his death, and the Beatles songs per se. This is also based on the score of 0.76. If I search for Johann Sebastian Bach died in 1750 in Leipzig, I get no result. As a reminder, this demo is written as 95% in JavaScript, and all the data is in memory. Granted, there are only 187 songs. Thank you.